first question to you is that the government has recently announced a central sector scheme for industrial development of the territory of J&K, which is at an outlay of rupees 28,400 crore. Under this scheme, industrial development has been extended to the block level to promote the far and flung areas. Tell us something more about this policy and how will this policy benefit the Jammu and Kashmir?
Sure, but I'm glad you asked this question because all of us have heard the numbers 28,400 crores and a lot of heard the basic issue. So that's been in the media for 6 months, so I'll not elaborate on that scheme. Of course, the basics parts are very clear. It's primarily a production-linked incentive, which means most of the money flows in terms of GST refunds rather than just land and other building refunds. Because a lot of misuse has happened in the past where people take land, open a third-rate shed, buy third-rate machinery, and then take the subsidy money. Our scheme is production-linked incentive. If you produce, if you create jobs, we will refund your GST paid up to 3 times the investment. Plus, we'll give you working capital subsidy, plus we'll give you interest subvention of 6% for 7 years, which means you have to have borrowed the money, you have to have paid 2% at least on your own. So essentially, this is now meant for honest entrepreneurs who do wish to genuinely work rather than work for influence part of it. Now, having said this part, let me come to other part which are not too well known in the public domain. One, this amount is not limited to 28,400. This is the initial amount approved by the cabinet. I have come serious assurance from the highest level that if required, if the money is spent well, we can take it up to 50,000 crores or even higher if really makes a difference. They want to see how well you utilize the money because there's no point throwing good money after bad money. So if the Jammu and Kashmir state or UT can show that we have utilized the money in the right direction, we have been able to create job, or ek hausla himmat aa gayi hamare logon mein, then money will not be a limit. So first assurance, don't go by the number. It's an indicative number. You need a number at some point, but this is not the final number because we have a long way to go. How well we spend the money, it depends on our capacity to use the money. Second issue, this is not just industry. This is also services, which is more critical because according to my understanding, and people may like it or dislike it, but let me be bebak about the issue, very frank about the fact. Kashmir doesn't need a huge production center. This is in a valley. Access is not easy. It remains snowbound for say 3 or 4 months down the year. There are difficulties in getting things from outside and getting it out in. So even if you have the railway line coming in, flights coming in, road being bordered, there will be a certain amount of difficulty compared to neighborhood of Punjab, Haryana, UP, Bihar. So these are limitations that you suffer. This is a given fact, history of the state. So that's the advantage that you have, that may be a disadvantage you have. We need to work on the strengths Kashmir or Jammu have. The strengths are the people, how smart they are, how intelligent they are. I've been telling the whole world, and I was talking to a US investor in the morning today, how impressed I was by the number of women who drive cars in the city. In both Jammu and Kashmir, how the women do not wear burqa, which frankly in my own home state of Patna or Delhi is more than what I see in Jammu and Kashmir, contrary to word. How the TFR, total fertility rate in Jammu and Kashmir is the lowest in the country, equivalent to Kerala, that is 1.6 per 1,000. So these are numbers which you need to understand. This state has its own advantage. It needs to build up on that advantage, which is skill of people, soft issues like wellness tourism, IT sectors, BPOs, hospitals, software parks, mobile unit assembly. Let me give you an example why I'm mentioning this part. If you have a plant in Chennai for mobile unit consolidation, you need air conditioning on 12 months a year. Not even a minute you want to switch off because it's a hot place. In Srinagar, you can ask yourself how many days you need air conditioning. Barely days, not even months. You realize the cost that is incurred into that sort of air conditioning plant that goes into it. Same kids, same skill set, same salary. I can deliver a better 20% job. So 20% margin and cost exists today because your weather is better. Nobody else has the advantage of having such a nice weather. Your connectivity through airlines, through roads, and through railways will be so good that I can assure you before 15th August 2023, their first Rajdhani will be running from Srinagar to Delhi. You can imagine in less than 20 hours, you will be in Delhi, from Baramulla to Delhi. That means as good as Patna or Delhi or Baramulla or Delhi. There will be no difference. It's an all-weather track. It cuts down the distance by 100 kilometers. It will be electrified track. And you can bring in one rake 4,000 tons of cement. Why should Srinagar be producing cement and spoiling the environment? Why shouldn't the top-end tourism come out here? I'll give you the example of Switzerland. What natural resources does Switzerland have had beyond which Kashmir doesn't have? Same valleys, same hills, same beauty. See what the strength was. Financial business investment was not their strength. They built upon that part. See the Davos conference that happens. Could be anywhere in the world. Why does it happen in Switzerland? You need to understand what your USP is, what your strengths are. Do not copy the world. So this policy for the first time is building on the sectors which are priority for us. We are not coming on a first come, first serve basis. We are giving a direction to the industrial process, which means Kashmir should more focus towards services sector. Limited amount of production should happen for local consumption. You can't produce for India, but you should build on the assets you have. Like I give you the example, mobile phones. Now let me give you another example. Bandipura, one of the remotest district that we have in the state, UT. Forgive me, I keep saying state UT. For me, UT state because Delhi also is state come UT, so it's an
No,
example.
that's okay, sir. It is a
That
UT.
is what happens. And it's a recent phenomenon. Bandipura has a rural BPO which Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister had inaugurated. It runs the DC office. Now, these kids service Eastern UP, Bihar, my home state, and Delhi. When I interact with the kids out there, the girls out there, the lingo had changed. They pick up the Bihari accent because they're dealing the whole day with Biharis and UPites only. So the small remote area in North Kashmir has kids dealing with Eastern UP, Bihar, and Delhi and doing an outstanding work of the Airtel customers. Why can't other districts simulate that part? I'm here funding you. Suppose the kid gets only 15,000 rupees a month. For a kid, a white collar job, sitting in a nice air conditioned center with a laptop and a desk screen in front of him or her, getting dropped at home and picking up even 15,000 rupees a month means they can continue their studies. They can further graduate onto far bigger issues. The costs are lower because in my policy, I'm refunding the entire GST out. I'm funding IRTS services, which means rural BPOs. So that young kids, to the extent of say hundreds of kids, don't have to leave the home. They can live with their parents at the same time enjoy the best jobs that the country can offer them. Think of an example in Gurgaon. Same kid gets 35,000 rupees. How much does a man have to spend on staying in Gurgaon? You can imagine the cost.
Yes.
How much of commuting are you doing away from your family, away from your friends? So, and it can't be a lifelong job, just only of a few years. So here am I targeting now opening a rural BPO or BPO in every district by funding it substantially. And I must share the good news with all of you. Soon Anantnag will have a capacity for 100-seater. I'm not naming the company. BPO call center is a large telecom company in the country. And that means I'll be able to create jobs for 300 young boys and girls in Anantnag city itself
That's great.
and no without polluting the environment. I'm not opening up a cement factory, and these jobs are white collar jobs. That's what the promise I'm making. वो सीमेंट की फैक्ट्री में उस सीमेंट के लोहे की छड़ नहीं उठानी है, सीमेंट का बैग नहीं उठाना है आपको. White collar job, talking to the best in the country, and you can graduate onto further things, skills and go on. Why do you think we are looking into nursing schools, pharma schools? So all these are medical technologies. We want to create white collar job. I know Kashmir and Jammu people do not require manual job. For that, there are enough people in the country from outside. So we must appreciate the strengths we have. Our children speak better language. They're most they articulate, they speak better English, everybody's well educated. They can do a better job than an average North Indian or South Indian can do. They don't have an accent that's out. So my point was largely let us build on our strength. Money is not a constraint. Policy is not a constraint. Our kids are smart. Our doctors are good. Why doesn't Kashmir or Jammu have medical tourism? People come here for tourism. Why should they stay in Gurgaon in that heat and stay in that urban area? Why not in Jammu and Kashmir? Why should my doctors work away from my own home? Why can't I build up hospitals out here? So not just tourism, make it medical tourism. I was talking to the US investor today. A lot of these insurance companies have packages. You can say let's say hip replacement. It costs 10 times more in US. So what they do, they buy you a business class ticket, they book you in a resort, they get you to India, they put you in a hospital, get you treated, and fly you back. Yet they save 5 times the money because they're insured and they can't afford to pay in America. And for you, it's a great holiday, business class, resorts paid, and good doctors. Why can't we replicate this model? Why do I need 10 cement or furnace factories out here when I can buy the same product from it in anywhere in the country, transport on railway through containers in less than 24 hours? I should do what nobody else has. Let's say agro-tourism, apples, orchards, or other walnuts. Nobody else can grow this for you. Why do things which anybody else can do? So my point, I hope I have made it very clear. Do
Absolutely.
what you can do well. Become a Switzerland. Don't start becoming Germany. They are two different places.
So we can also say that the industrial development which is taking place in Jammu and Kashmir right now, it also takes under notice the ecological sustainability of this region, and protects the interests also as far as the ecology and the natural beauty with reference to Jammu and Kashmir is concerned.